Are you still trying to do things the way you did them 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago? One of the things we frequently ask people, we being coaches or folks who are trying to help folks make progress in one way or another, is what has helped you to be successful in the past? And I think that's a wonderful question. It's a great question because sometimes we have forgotten the things that have helped us to be successful in the past. And some of those things are great. The strategies, the approaches, the support system. Sometimes we have really good stuff in the vault that we have just forgotten about and we need to remember and then utilize it. Perfect. That's wonderful. However, sometimes what's going on is that we are drastically different people or in drastically different circumstances than we were previously when we were working towards a goal, a new life, or whatever it is we're working towards. And now those things that used to serve us so well or that we used to do just don't work anymore. And I think sometimes we're very, very hard on ourselves when we realize that. We feel like we're failing. Like, I know that I've been able to execute this before. Why am I having such a hard time executing now? Like, what is going on with me now that I can't seem to do this? And I thought it might be helpful to provide a little bit of perspective on this. I would say that for most people, it's not that you are any worse of a person. You're not less motivated, less dedicated, less able to, I'm drawing a blank on the word, less disciplined. That's a big one. Less disciplined in your approach or anything like that. It's that you are likely wiser because you've had more life experience. There may be different responsibilities on your plate now in comparison to before. And sometimes we're just, our operating system is different. The way that we move through the world has changed. And for many people, it's for the better. What we used to do in the past might have been really self-sabotaging in some ways, maybe not caring for yourself, abandoning yourself, just not taking good care of yourself. So yes, you were able to meet the goal, but at what cost? At what expense? What did it cost you to meet that goal in the past? Perhaps those are things that you're not willing to compromise on now. Your current, the current version of you is not willing to stay up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. working on something on a regular basis the way you were before. Or maybe if you do it, it has to be more of a one-off, once in a while kind of thing in comparison to it being your way of life in the past. I mention that as an example because it's something that I remember doing in college in my 20s, pulling all-nighters, staying up late, doing, all of these things was normal. It was what people were doing. It didn't feel, detrimental to my health or anything. It didn't feel cumbersome. It just felt like a good time. It felt like an experience, right? You go to class, you study, you hang out with your friends. Maybe you're working a part-time job if that, was your experience, or you're playing sports, you're doing the things, and it was just life, and it might have even felt really good. But if you tried to do those same things in your, I don't know, late 20s or 30s or 40s, it might not even be accessible to you to approach life in that way because of your responsibilities, because of the care needs that your body now has or your mind now has, or if you have children or different things like that. So know that maybe you are having a hard time meeting your goals or completing those tasks because you're trying to use strategies and approaches that no longer fit the person that you are today. And that's okay. There is nothing wrong with that. We're constantly growing. We're constantly changing. We're constantly, hopefully, why did I do air quotes? We're constantly, hopefully, re-evaluating what is working, what is not working, what direction we actually want to be going in, and what feels good. So as you're approaching your goals, one, know that what worked for you in the past may not work for you in the future or currently. Two, there's nothing wrong with that. that isn't some failure on your part that you were able to execute effortlessly in the past, and now it's not coming as easily to you. The reason why it may not be coming as easily to you is because you're taking better care of yourself now. You're trying to make sure you actually get a fair amount of sleep and drink water, and you're not eating fast food every day, or whatever things you were doing at that time, drinking 5 coffees a day to get through the day, or whatever it is. No shade or diss to people who like to drink lots of coffee. Coffee is delicious. But just by way of example, there may be new non-negotiables in your life, new ways that you're looking at yourself, new ways that you're looking at your priorities and what's important and what you're willing to kind of throw off the table for you to meet your goals, and what you still need to maintain and work on even as you're working through your goals. So know that you not being able to execute the way you did in the past may not be because there's something wrong. It might be because there's something very, very right, which then kind of brings up, do you actually have the capacity, time, space, resources, etc., to do the thing that you're trying to do? Because especially if you're someone who in the past just, I'll figure it out and I'll get it done. I mean, I was one of those people. It will be handled. I've said I was on my Olivia Pope for a lot of my life up to this point. It will be handled. It will be figured out. It will be managed. It will be taken care of. I got it, kind of thing. But now I can't approach things like that. I cannot do things in that way anymore because it costs me too much. It costs me way too much to move through the world that way. When I was moving through the world that way, I was self-abandoning, self-sacrificing, overperforming, just doing way too much, doing the most, because I felt like I needed to be successful in whatever it is that I was doing. And now I'm thinking my health is important. My ability to rest is important. My ability to maintain relationships, friendships, that sort of thing is important. And so the things that I would have done in the past just don't make sense now. I have to find new approaches, new strategies that don't require me to kind of put myself on the back burner in order to achieve some goal that likely once I achieve it, there will be a moment of celebration and excitement, and then I'll be on to the next thing, because that's kind of what humans do. We achieve things and we're ready for the next thing. We are creative, usually motivated to experience things, to succeed to varying degrees, right? Some people more so than others. But I feel like for most people, once we're working towards something, once we achieve it, the time we spend really kind of luxuriating in the fact that we've achieved it is pretty minimal before there's something else, that we want to work on. So know that, and I feel like I've said this a number of times, just know that if you're struggling with meeting your goal or implementing strategies that have worked for you in the past, that may not be a bad thing. And you may just need to figure out how to do things in a different way. And that is okay. It does not make you a failure. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong. And know that once you implement this new approach, this new strategy, this new structure, whatever it is, you might not execute it well. That's another thing. So we start with this new approach. We maybe give it, I don't know, a few days, a week, a month, depending on what it is. We feel like it's not working. It's not working. It doesn't work. I'm not going to do it. And then we're over it. When the reality is we're learning how to implement it. And some things take a little bit longer for us to figure out how to do it than others. And that's okay. We're so used to being competent and learning things quickly and picking things up quickly. There's a real big value culturally of learning things quickly and being quick with things and knowing how to do things quickly. But not everything can be learned quickly. Not everything is meant to be learned quickly. Not everything is meant to be executed quickly. Some stuff requires us to take a little bit of time to figure it out, to build our knowledge, our understanding, build the building blocks of whatever structure we're putting into place until it's done. And now we have our new way of doing things. And we can be so hard on ourselves during that process. Again, culturally, it's quick, fast. How can I get this as rapidly as possible? And just we just can't for everything, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Know that as well. You may not be able to move as quickly as you'd like or as efficiently as you'd like because you're learning. You're learning how to do something new. You're learning how to approach something in a new way. You are growing yourself. And that takes time. It takes time. If we think about all the time we spent learning things as children, as teenagers, as young adults, when we're on the job, the thing that's coming into my mind right now is like people who were apprentices and how much time they spent like working with someone until they learned this craft or learned this new thing. Stuff doesn't always come overnight. And we sometimes abandon it before we give it a chance to actually work because it didn't come overnight, because it didn't come quickly, because it's requiring effort, because it makes us feel stupid, because it makes us feel incompetent, because it makes us feel like we're unsuccessful or we don't know, how to do things. And so then we go back to what feels more comfortable or easier, doesn't make us feel so bad. But that's often part of the process. And if you allow yourself to approach it from a learning space and stop and spend time stopping and reflecting on the progress you've made and not just where you haven't been successful with what you're trying to do, very often you'll see those small changes clicking into place. Small changes where you're shifting, you're changing. You're not quite the same person you were 2 weeks ago. You're not quite the same person you were a month ago. You're not quite the same person, or you're executing this a little bit more easily or easier. And it's important to stop and acknowledge those things. Sometimes also we're so busy being hard on ourselves and frustrated and upset that it's not coming easily that we don't even notice when we're making progress. We don't even notice when we've gotten better. We don't even notice all the progress we made because we haven't gotten to done yet. Done will come. We got to keep taking the steps and becoming the person who can get to done. So you may need to upgrade your approach. You may need to upgrade your system. You may also need to be a little bit more gentle and kind with yourself and allow yourself to be in a learning space instead of in a space of mastery or being an expert at something. And know that this is all natural and normal. We grow, we change, our environments change, our priorities change. Our functionality sometimes changes, and so we have to consider all of these things when we're trying to set goals and lay out a workable plan in order to get from point A to point B. That's it. If that was helpful for you, you'd like to hear more, please follow me. You can follow me here on YouTube. You can follow me on TikTok, on Facebook, and on Instagram. All that information will be in the description. And yeah, if you need a little accountability to help you stay focused on those goals and tasks and things that you're working towards, and you're a woman or a femme, I do have an accountability group. We meet on Monday nights to brain dump, to soundboard, to talk through, to muck through the things that are kind of preventing us from moving forward. And sometimes we're just working. We get together and we work on our respective tasks and things that we're trying to get done. And the consistency of showing up and having people witness you in your process and support you in your process. Big wins, small wins, big losses, little losses, who are just there rooting for you, can be just amazing. So I will have the link for my website, so check that out as well. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day or week. Bye.